Andrea Heuston here. I'm the hostess of the Lead Like a Woman show, where I feature strong, amazing, and brilliant female leaders and how they're changing our world for the better. We have over 40,000 people on social media who are sharing that message of empowering female leaders to empower others. Keep sharing and follow this show right now as you listen. And if you're so inclined, head on over to Apple and give us a 5-star review. We charted last week in Japan, of all places, which is so amazing to see. So keep following, keep listening. I love to see it on the charts worldwide. In this episode today, we're going to talk about how to master the art of hiring, because it is an art. But before we get to that, this episode is brought to you by Lead Like a Woman. We've created an offer just for you. Get 1 hour of speaker coaching for just $350. That is 50% off. Head on over to leadlikeawoman.biz and click on the button that says Coach Me for details. We can start creating an outline, help you with your stage fright, and give you some tools and techniques. And the best way to find me is Andrea at leadlikeawoman.biz. I'm all over LinkedIn, or if you type hashtag leadlikeawoman into your search bar, I come up. Today, we welcome my guest, Jamie Van Cuyk, CEO and lead strategist for a company called Growing Your Team. After leaving a successful corporate career to follow her entrepreneurial dreams, Jamie quickly learned that many business owners had no or minimal experience hiring employees. I absolutely remember hiring my first employee. That first employee, sidebar, stole from me, and she was a horrible thing. But we'll talk about that. With ineffective teams being one of the top reasons businesses fail, Jamie felt inspired to help companies overcome this challenge and succeed. Today, drawing from her over 10 years of leadership experience, Jamie teaches her clients how to master the art of hiring. On a personal side, Jamie lives in St. Petersburg, Florida with her husband and 2 daughters. She loves to travel, is a home winemaker, ooh, that sounds good, and enjoys exercise that takes her feet off the ground, including rock climbing and aerial dance. So cool. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Aerial dance. We're going to hear more about that. So you started your career in corporate and had quite a career before you decided to follow those entrepreneurial dreams. What was the impetus for that? What made you go on down your path?
Yeah. Okay. So I always knew I wanted to start my own business, but I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do, what type of business it was going to be. My husband, he's a software developer. So we always threw around the ideas of let's start something together. It would most likely be in the tech world. He could do the software side. I would do the business side. It'd be a perfect match. And we kept waiting for the perfect time or the perfect idea. And him being the software developer, I kept waiting on him, which is not really a great thing to do when your husband is very risk adverse. So even though he went through 2 layoffs, he kept saying, I don't think this is the right time. And I'm just like, okay, we'll wait for you to find it to be the right time. And then fast forward, I went back to work after I had my second daughter. My mom was watching the baby at first, but I always knew there was a deadline. There was a deadline where I needed to find daycare because my parents are snowbirds. So we live in Florida. My parents spend most of the year in Florida, but spend the summer in New York. Wow. So it was always, once June comes, you need to have something else lined up for your baby because we're not going to be here.
Right.
And with our oldest daughter, at this point in time, she was in full-time preschool, but we had a daycare that we loved until the day we started hating it and knew we had to get her out there because there was an incident that happened. And because of that, I was having a really hard time finding a daycare that I would trust.
Right.
I kept being like, okay, maybe this one. Then I'm like, oh, maybe not. Or this, and it was like, oh, okay, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a nanny. And then I'm like, as soon as you start Googling something, all the articles pop up. So then I was seeing all these articles about things going wrong with nannies. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how can I trust someone else to watch my child? Yeah. So all this was going on. The one daycare that I thought, this is the place I'm going to send her. I get an email that starts off like what you see right away. It's like, congratulations, we have a spot for your child. And I'm like, yes. And then I open up the email and it's like in 8 months. And I'm like,
oh no,
I need him in 8 weeks. I need a spot in 8 weeks. I'm like, this doesn't work for me. It was paired with a day that I was super annoyed with my boss. My team was a fantastic team, but it was one of those days where every time you turn around, someone needs something from you. So I was just like, I'm so overwhelmed. Everything my team needed from me, they legitimately needed me. It wasn't like they were like coming to me with stuff that they didn't need my help, but it was still like, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm frustrated with my boss. I just got this email, so I don't know what to do about daycare. My team's just overloading me today. I'm on edge. I'm like, that's it. I'm quitting my job and becoming a stay-at-home mom. And I thought about that for 30 seconds and it said, who am I kidding? I could never be a stay-at-home mom. That's not me. It's not my personality. I love being a corporate working woman. So what do I do?
Right.
And that's when I said, this is it. This is my sign. This is my sign to stop waiting on my husband to start a business when it's, I don't know if he wants to start a business, but I don't know if he really wants to start a business. I was like, but this is me. This is my goal. This is my dream. So I'm going to do it. And so that night I went home and I told my husband, I was just like, I don't want your feedback yet because I still need to think about this to make sure it's the right move for me. I was like, but I'm going to ask you questions and I'm going to be doing research. So I want you to know what I'm planning. Right. I was like, I'm planning on leaving my job and learning how to program. I'm going to teach myself how to program while I'm home with our youngest. Geez. So that way we can finally start this company that we've been talking about forever. And he's like, I know you said you didn't want my feedback, but I'm telling you to do it. Do it. Wow. Like, you need to do that. And I'm just like, okay, so you don't think this is a crazy idea? And he goes, no. He goes, I know you're going to make the right decision. So if that's what you decide and you determine that it works well for our family, do it. And so 2 weeks later, I turned in my notice. I gave him about 2 months notice. So it was 2 months after that I said, okay, I'm done. It's my last day. I lasted 6 months teaching myself how to program until I realized I hated the world of software development on the back end. So closed down that business. And then that led me to eventually starting growing your team.
Good for you though. I have a husband who's very risk averse as well. But what I've learned about that is it's a balance. It's such a balance. You have to have somebody who's not risk adverse when you have somebody who loves risk. So I get it. So I want to know then, instead of what went wrong when you started growing your team, what went right?
Yeah. So what went right with growing your team is, first off, I really focused on what do I want to do this time around. So when my husband and I decided to stop doing the stuff with the software, like I looked at him and I said, okay, well, we knew going into creating a software development business that he hadn't left his 9-to-5 job. So we had his income and I was like, so we knew that we weren't going to have any additional income other than yours for a while. So I'm asking permission to not continue not having that income for a while so I can figure out what I want to do. Because I was like, if I go back to corporate now, I don't know if I'll ever take the risk to leave again. Right. So I want to take some time to figure out, can I start a different business and things like that? So I realized that what I loved, which was consulting, the corporate company that I left, they said, we can't leave you, or we can't let you leave completely. Will you do some consulting work for us for a while and kind of slowly get yourself out of everything? And I said, yes, of course. And the 2 projects that I loved were 100% around leadership development. Yeah. And I was like, I love this. Like, I love helping people enhance their leadership skills. Right. So I've really focused on how can I help other people with their leadership skills? But I still didn't know exactly how to do that. Right. So I started networking and talking to people. I started finding out what is the need out there. And that's when I found out, I was like, well, I thought I was going to work with corporate clients. I keep finding myself talking to small business owners. Right. And I'm learning about their needs and everything. And I was like, okay, so small business owners need help with hiring. I was still very against it at first of helping them with hiring, but I was like, let me provide you some like free advice that I have. And it really helped me like lean into my strengths. I was like, wow, I know what I'm talking about here. Like, I know what I'm doing. People want this support. The other thing that I was doing was I was working with a business coach who brought us through a series of questions one day. And these questions were more designed really how to show up in some ways with your marketing. Oh. And one of the things I realized when I was doing that, which was kind of funny that I was even in this program because I really didn't have anything yet completely to market. But I was thankful because I realized that every question she asked, no matter what the topic was, I said the word people at least 2 times in every answer. And I was like, okay, my business needs to be around people. It needs to be around the people aspect. Absolutely. And helping people grow people aspect of their organization. And so like realizing that, so I would say the number one thing I did right, and it took a while to figure it out, was building a business that was around my core values, my things that were my strengths, where I really wanted to help people, where I could help people, but listening to others to understand what their needs were so I could connect me to the needs versus trying to force something upon myself or forcing something upon other people.
Right. Well, and that makes sense. And the fact that you love people makes this the perfect thing for you to be working on, the perfect thing to do. I like that. So it's really interesting, when I was on your website, you talk about empowering women entrepreneurs and leaders to expand their unique businesses by teaching them to master the hiring process. What made you decide to focus on women entrepreneurs?
So interesting that you asked this question. I feel like I haven't been asked this specific question that often. And now it's this particular week, I've been asked this question multiple times. So
really?
It is great. Like, but I love it. I love it. And I love it. I love being able to talk about this, because I think the problem with women, and I've noticed this in myself, is we are taught that in order to have it all, we need to do it all.
Yeah,
it's
true.
One of those things where it's like, yes, you can go and have the career, but you still need to be making dinner. You still need to be taking care of the kids. You still need to be doing this. And even if you have a super supportive, involved spouse, you're most likely still carrying the mental load of everything that goes on at home and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me pause for a second and explain the mental load to listeners, because I know you know, but really when you're in a meeting and you're thinking about, oh crap, I've got to get Sarah to her ballet recital. Oh, my son Johnny needs to go get his dental work done. Oh wait, I need to pick up the dry cleaning on the way home. There's so many things in your head. There's a mental load, and it's big.
Yeah.
I don't think men have that same issue.
And it's like, okay, well, even if my husband's great, because my husband is great at cooking. Like, I do very little of the cooking at home, but I'm typically okay, if we're going to have tacos on Tuesday night, what do we need? Is it on the grocery list? Is it there? Okay, then making sure that, everything's ready. Okay, if we need to be out the door by such and such time, we need to make sure we're eating by this. We need to, and like all that thing. So it's like, even though he's cooking's not the only thing of that activity. There's so much other stuff that goes around it. And so, but we're taught to do it all, or to get it all, you need to do it all.
Sure.
And so there's so much where we're afraid to delegate, because we think that in order to delegate, it means I'm doing something wrong, that I can't do it all.
And that's not true. Highest and best use, people. Highest and best use.
Yeah. So but we're so stuck in that, like, I'm doing something wrong if I can't do it all. I should be able to add it to my plate. And so I really like empowering women and telling them that delegating and being able to delegate is a sign of success. It's not a sign of failure. It means that you've grown your business to a spot where you can employ someone else, where you can delegate. And these are signs of successes. We're not saying you can't do it all. We're saying you shouldn't do it all, because the fact that you should be doing other stuff in your business, that your mind, your time, your effort needs to be put on other things and not this, because you've reached the point where you can hire other people to support you. So I really like just helping them see that hiring is a sign of success. It's not that you're a sign of failure, that you can't do it all. And sometimes when I'm working with people or just having conversations, it's like, it's not just hiring in your business. It's sometimes hiring in your home. Who says you have to clean your bathroom? Your bathroom should be clean, but you don't have to do it. Who says you have to do your grocery shopping? There are apps like Instacart or personal assistants or things like that will go do your grocery shopping for you. It's something that needs to get done. It doesn't need to get done by you.
So true. And there's a beautiful freedom to realizing that you don't have to do it all. Shout out to my friend, Rosanna Berardi. She is in upstate New York, and she's a lawyer and owns a law firm. But she does this talk, and I was her speaker coach, but she does this talk about outsourcing everything. So she has Instacart. She's got a dry cleaning service that picks up her dry cleaning and brings it back to her house. She has all these things. There's lists of things that she just outsources. And it is so beautiful to be able to find kind of your genius zone, that place where you are the best person to do what you're doing. You're getting joy from it and you're earning money, and then let everybody else do the rest.
Right.
But that's it's like if you, right? That's not how society has helped raise it.
Yeah, it's like if you look back at your life and let's say you have a significant other and children, what do you want to be proud of when you look back at your life? Oh, I was really good at cleaning the bathroom every week,
Yeah.
or I spent good quality time with my children and my significant other,
Right.
that we were able to go and relax and have fun together. Those are the things you're going to say, yes, I had a good life, not I cleaned the bathroom. Look at me.
Ooh, I went
grocery shopping.
Yay. Exactly. And no offense meant to anyone who loves cleaning bathrooms. It's just not something I love doing.
Right.
So interesting. Well, then for outsourcing for business, I want to talk about that for a minute. But I want to understand what the mindset shifts are that are necessary when hiring. What do you have to think about other than I don't need to do it all? There are people who are better at me at that. Yeah. What do you think?
So I would say the very first thing that I like to start with is a lot of people think in order to hire for your business, you're hiring a full-time employee.
No.
And for most people, that's not where you're starting. If you think about it, if you're the only employee in your business and you hire another full-time employee, you're literally doubling your working staff.
You are, yeah.
You never see a company go from 500 employees to 1,000 employees in one day. So why are we doubling our staff as well? And so most of your first hires are going to be small hires. It might be that contractor that's helping you with projects. It could be for my first employee within my business, I hired someone for 10 hours a week because that was all I needed. I needed 10 hours a week to help with certain projects. I have a marketing contractor who works for me 5 hours a week. There's these small micro roles that are going to help you. And it's a way where it's going to be good for your budget. It's going to be good for you building your delegation skills. Yes. And it's going to be good for growing your revenue because you're getting the right supports. That way you can eventually hire those bigger roles. But we do not need to go to a full-time employee right away. Part-time employees, contractors, freelancers are typically the place to start with hiring.
Absolutely. And what I love about that is when I started my business 29 years ago, that wasn't the landscape of employment. It was a full-time person or a teenager working at McDonald's or something like that. So what I love now is that you can hire somebody to do 5 hours a week. You can hire somebody to do 10 hours a week. You can outsource to 1099 employees or even part-time employees or gig workers. Gig workers are a thing now too. So my very first employee, and I alluded to this earlier, was a woman who I had hired to be both my admin assistant and my personal assistant. She came recommended to me from 2 different sources who didn't even know each other. So I went, well, I got to hire her. Even though when I met her, there was no connection. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, I don't know what I'm doing and these people do, so I'll just hire her. Big, huge mistake. First of all, she knew the job, but she hated doing the personal assistant stuff. She would complain about picking up the dry cleaning. I mean, it just the little things like that so I could keep going and doing my highest and best use. But she ended up stealing from me. She ended up stealing. My first employee stole over $15,000 from me. And that was my very first employee. So my experience was, oh, I'm not doing this right. So as you say, I mean, hiring right is an art. It is something that you really have to learn. It's not intuitive. And that mindset is important. But I want to know, what are some strategies for successful hiring and onboarding so you don't so you do listen to your gut versus not?
Yes. Yeah. So I love that you went to this question because like the first thing I would say is, okay, you hired this person because she was recommended to you by 2 different sources. Yeah. And one of the first things I always say is just because someone's good at what they do does not mean they're right for you.
Exactly.
So what their interaction with that person could have been fantastic. She was great at what she was doing either for them or however they knew her and stuff, but it doesn't mean she's right for you. So no matter how highly recommended a person is, you still need to do your due diligence to make sure that they're good for you.
You do.
You want to set up a process where first you start off really understanding who it is that you need. And the who it is not just what tasks are they going to do, but how are they going to fit into your organization. So even if you're hiring contractors or freelancers, you need to understand, okay, what is my communication style? If this person's only ever working on the weekends, they might be able to get the stuff done and and check off the boxes and deliver everything. But what if what I'm hiring them for, I need a little bit more back and forth communication. I need to get something on a Tuesday to send them feedback by Thursday, so that way they can get me the final draft by Friday and not feel like there's an entire week in between that feedback cycle or things like that. So it's understanding, what is it that you need? Do you need a team member that is very similar to you? Because maybe they're helping you with some of your client work. So they need to have very similar style and things like that, because they will be interacting with your client. Or are you hiring someone to help you with the admin work? And the reason you need someone to help you with the admin work is you're horrible at doing the admin work.
Yes.
You need to hire someone who has different skills than you.
Right.
Maybe you need to hire someone that is going to help keep you in line, that they're going to remind you when things are due and what's coming up, versus you always delegating to them and giving them a daily to-do list. So you really need to understand that idea candidate you're looking for, and then create a process that speaks directly to that idea candidate so the right people apply, and then also identifies from those people that apply who is the best fit for your opportunity and who is not a good fit. And I will say, we want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to make sure someone is a good fit, but we do also have to listen to our gut. So if something is telling you, yes, this person can do everything, but I'm just not feeling the fit, listen to that gut. Listen to that gut that's telling you no.
Do that, So I appreciate that. So then I want to know about onboarding as well. How do you do that successfully? That's a big question with a big answer, so it's not
there's so many things. I'll try to keep it nice and narrow. Is the first and most important thing is you need to have an onboarding plan that's going to take someone from day one to successful hire. And that onboarding plan is not a one-day orientation. It is a plan that's probably going to span, depending on the role, depending on the person's background, at least 2 weeks. And I've seen them go up to 8 weeks in a small business. You have to know, what does this person need to know to be successful in my company? For some people, they know very well how to do their jobs. They just need to learn your expectations. They need to learn your systems. They need to learn your processes, and that's it. Other positions, other people you're going to hire, they need to also be taught a little bit of how to do the job. Okay, I have this thing that we do inside our organization that you probably haven't seen anywhere else. So I need to teach you how to do this. I need to teach you what it means to do this well. You need to remember that they need to be taught your expectations. That's the most important thing. No one can meet your expectations if they don't know your expectations.
No, they don't read minds, and that's okay.
And if you don't teach them, they're going to create the expectations based off their own experience. So what is it that they think it means to do well? Or what did their last boss want for this? And you're not their last boss. You're not them. So you're going to have to teach them your expectations. And then the other thing for successful onboarding is remembering that it's not one and done for a lot of training. When we're onboarding team members, we are overloading them with information. And if you think about the human brain, we can only absorb so much at a time. So sometimes we have to retrain on subjects or re-communicate things because they thought they got it all, but they really didn't, because they got it all from their perspective, but it wasn't necessarily what we completely meant. So to really showcase this is, think of a movie you've seen multiple times. The movie doesn't change the second time you watch it, but you pick up on different things because your base level knowledge changed.
Wow.
But everything was there in front of you the first time, right? So you got to think that, like with training and onboarding. You can tell them everything. They think they absorbed everything, but they really didn't. So sometimes you have to go through training twice.
So that's really important. I hadn't even thought of that. So thank you for sharing that. Sometimes you have to go through training twice, and sometimes you need more. The other thing I love what you just said is that if you don't communicate your expectations, they're going to create them themselves. And you know what? Nobody is a mind reader. I mean, there may be somebody out there, but still, nobody I know reads minds. And so being clear about what you're looking for and what those expectations are is so vital for success.
Yeah. And some of those expectations, like a lot of people say, I wish I had a mind reader. All right. Well, part of that is the expectation you're going to set up. Hopefully, one, you're hiring someone that can show and prove to you before you ever hire that they can be proactive. But what are you expecting? I want you to anticipate my needs. I want you to see what's on my calendar. Like if you're hiring an assistant, you're going to see what's on my calendar. And I want you to know that if I have this type of meeting, this is what I need from you before that meeting starts. That's completely different than saying, all right, my expectations are at the beginning of the day, I'm going to meet with you and we're going to run down the meetings that I have and what I need from you and what I'm going to do myself and everything. So the same thing is if someone's helping you prepare for meetings, but one, you're going to be part of the process of helping them help you prepare for meetings. And the other one, you're setting that expectation that I need you to do this on your own.
Right.
And just deliver me what I need, because you're going to learn enough that you're going to know if I have this meeting, this is what I need from you.
Exactly. So important. So, we've all had mentors in our lives. I'm sure you have too, Jamie. What is one piece of advice that you've received that really still plays in your mind that you use today?
Yes. Okay. So one of the things I am going to share, and I feel like this is so important for a woman to hear, is no one needs to know why you're not available, just that you're not available.
My God, I love that. There's so many people who justify it. Well, I'm out to lunch right now. Don't tell me that.
Or you feel guilty. I'm going to pick up my kids from school. Okay.
Yep. Go.
They don't need to know that. Just I'm not available at 3:00, but I am available at 1:00. Would you like to meet at 1?
I love that. No one needs to know why you're not available.
Yeah.
That's incredibly important. What kind of advice then would you give women who are business owners or who are hiring for a team? What would you say to them if they're new to that kind of process?
Yeah. So new to the process of hiring. So first, one of the things I think that's really important to remember is, does it need to be done right or does it need to be done by you? Because if it just needs to be done right, it's something you can delegate.
I like that.
And that is going to change as your business grows.
Right.
There are things that you look at right now in your business that have to be done by you, that maybe 2 years from now no longer need to be done by you, that you can delegate.
Really powerful.
And so just remember that will help empower you to get things off your plate, that it just needs to be done right. You don't actually have to do it. And then just make sure you're setting yourself up for success by really understanding who it is that you need to hire and putting a process in place so you can identify that right person throughout.
I love that. Wow. So important. So to that end, interestingly, you have a chapter in a collaboration book that's coming out soon, or is out by the time this episode airs. Can you give us just a little tiny preview of what that one's about?
Yeah, so we're still right now as we go to record this in the very early stages of putting it all together. So of course, by the time it's out, hopefully I'll have more information that maybe can be in the show notes and everything. But I am participating in a collaboration book that is all about empowering the highly successful working woman and how to really have that kind of whole life that you're striving for, that you're not just the worker, you're not just mom, you're not just whatever it is, that you are this whole woman.
Yeah.
And the chapter I'm writing is all about delegating and getting things off your plates. And we're taking it from an angle of not just in business, but in personal as well. And also that delegating isn't just necessarily putting it on someone else's plate. So maybe, for example, a significant other's plate to say, I can't do this anymore, I need you to do it. It's about empowering you to recognize when it's okay and when you should be paying other people to do work to free up your time, because your time is valuable, your family's time is valuable, your team members' time is valuable. So how do we create this balance where you're investing the right dollars to make it so you can be more successful and happy in your life?
So cool. I love that. I want to also explain that you have a podcast. It's called the Growing Your Team podcast. And Jamie, so far, I think I see 233 episodes.
Yes.
That's amazing. So check her out as well for that podcast. So Jamie, I believe that every woman on earth has a superpower. In fact, I'm sure of it. What's yours?
Yeah. So one of the things that I will say is my superpower is listening. It's one of those things where it's listening so that way I can effectively communicate. It's one of those things my clients tell me all the time when we go to work together. We have what we call our hiring kickoff calls. I ask them a bunch of questions and really kind of be able to pull that thread through of, okay, well, you said this over here and you said this over here and you said this here. So therefore this must be important. And we're able to pull that information out to put together their hiring strategies. It allows me, we do a lot of recruiting on behalf of our clients, and it allows me to be really successful because it's not just what they said, but how they said it and how this answer connects to this answer and everything here. So it's like listening to the big picture and not the individual words.
That's important. I say that, I usually describe that as listening to hear, not listening to respond. And so it's a deeper amount of listening. So that is definitely a superpower, and one that you tap into often for your business.
Yes. And it's even like sometimes in the personal lives, like I'll be talking to a friend. I was like, well, you said once, and they're like, how do you remember that? And I'm just like, I don't know, but you said this once and it stuck out in my mind and it connects back to this conversation we're having here now, or it connects back to that. And it's like, okay.
It's your superpower.
Right?
I love that. Well, we've had such a fun conversation today with you, Jamie Van Cuyk, CEO of Growing Your Team. Jamie, where can we find you online?
Yeah, so you can go to the Growing Your Team website, which is growingyourteam.com, or I hang out a lot on Instagram, so that's at Growing Your Team.
Awesome, thank you. And check out her podcast, like I was saying, the Growing Your Team podcast with Jamie Van Cuyk, and you can find that on her website as well.
Yes.
Jamie, thanks for being here today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And listeners, I want you to remember we all have superpowers. Jamie has the superpower of deep listening, not just listening, but that's deep listening. I have superpowers, and listeners, you all have superpowers. Please use them for good. And thank you for listening today to the Lead Like a Woman show, where we are passionate about empowering female leaders to empower others. Now, please go find something to delegate. And remember, no one needs to know why you're not available.